Look, I said I'd be coming in strong with these videos now that I'm back, and what better way than to make a video about one of y'all's most asked questions, and that is how I got started programming. So let's talk about it. Alright, so the best place I think to start this story is back around 6th, 7th grade. Because in order to understand why I started programming, you had to understand what kind of kid I was. For starters, I was always the kid that teachers would ask, why isn't my projector working right? Can you come help me? Or if something's going on with my computer, can you come help me before I call the computer lab guy down here to actually fix it? Or that my parents would ask, what's going on with X, Y, or Z? And mind you, this didn't happen when I was like young, but probably when I was like 10 years and older. When I was young, I had dial-up at my house, you know, when I wanted to use a phone and my parents wanted to use a computer, I couldn't use the phone because it was running on the same line. And of course, I never really used a computer other than using AIM in order to talk to some of my friends. And of course, I didn't have a cell phone like most elementary school kids have today. And even when I got a cell phone, it was years and years before I actually got a smartphone, which was an iPhone. But we're getting a little bit off track. All right, so point number 2 is the fact that for some reason, I took 2 whole years of keyboarding classes. This is literally figuring out the best way and fastest way to type on a keyboard and essentially how to properly type a letter and format the letter and format Word documents and all of that stuff. And I found that super interesting. I literally still have both binders from each year sitting in my childhood closet. So take with that what you will. Not many young folk like 6th and 7th graders really wanted to get into that type of stuff, but for me, I thought it was some of the most interesting stuff in the world. And this may be because I'm awfully competitive, but we would literally, by we I mean me and the other people in these keyboarding classes, would sit there and just try to beat each other's WPM. Like, we all did it at the same time, and I wanted you to be the best. I want to have the fastest typing and everything. I want to make sure I had the least amount of errors, the fastest WPM, and now that I'm reminiscing, that was a good old time, but let's move on. Point number 3, and I'm sure many of you guys can really relate to this one, is I loved video games. Now mind you, when I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, those were the years of Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, all of that on Xbox 360, and everybody after school would go home, get on Xbox Live, we would all play Call of Duty together, whether that is just a regular game or whether that is in like a quick scoping lobby, because quick scoping, that was my jam. I was one of the best. But me just being good at video games isn't really what set me apart from everybody else, because like I said, everybody would go after school and play video games. What set me apart is the fact that me and my buddy Dylan, if you've ever watched me stream on Twitch, that would be FishFan, who I play with quite often, we actually would hack into the Xbox system. Mind you, we didn't write any of the code, we used scripts in order to hack into the system. We changed our avatar. Instead of having regular skin and regular colored hair, we would change the skin blue, which you couldn't do. We would change the hair to either be like red, like a bright red, or saturated, or neon green with dreads. Just things that you weren't supposed to do, and colors that you weren't supposed to have access to. We made our avatars that way. Another thing we did is hosted 10th Prestige lobbies in Modern Warfare 2. We also changed our gamer tags for when we were in Modern Warfare 2 games to show up as neon green. Now, I'm not sure if we just did this for fun, but for some reason I'm thinking that's what like the creators of Call of Duty, like the people from Infinity Ward, would have as their names. That would be neon green, so when you see them in a lobby, you know they're some type of developer. Something in my mind is telling me that's kind of why we did it, but I'm not 100% sure. And then all of that resulted in my account, not his, mind you, my account only, getting banned until December 31st, the year 9999, which essentially means forever. But since that got banned, I also had a workaround to get endless months on a new gamer tag of Xbox Live. So if you can't tell already, all of this has to do with why I started programming, because I liked to make technology do whatever I wanted, not what it was supposed to do. Now, a few more points that influenced me were the fact that my cousin was a front-end web developer and owned his own company, and I saw how he was getting all this business, and I just loved business. I loved coding, of course, and all of how you manipulate technology. And although he never really taught me things, like sat down and taught me how to do front-end web development, he did say how he learned front-end web development. It wasn't from tutorials, because there weren't really tutorials when he learned it back in like early 2000s. What he did was go to a website, right click, hit view page source, and just change things in there like on his own local server. And that's what I ended up doing. I went in, I changed this color. I'm like, oh, well that changes this color to red, so that's cool. I can change that to be black, or I can change that to be green, or what have you. Oh, that changes this font to be like this, to be bigger, to be small. Like there's just so many different things within like the front end that you're able to manipulate. And I just thought that was really cool. But what really like set it off for me, the fact that I had all this interest in code and manipulating technology, was The Social Network. The movie The Social Network, which is about like the come up of Facebook. The fact that you're able to build such a successful and wealthy business from, you know, starting off in your own dorm room was just fascinating to me, because I realized like you can be location independent and you can be financially independent, meaning you work for yourself from anywhere you want. That's one of the main things that drove me to do software development, other than the fact that manipulating technology is really interesting. It's just a sheer fact of being able to run your own life. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving what I'm doing now, but to be able to work from anywhere developing software is like the dream, or at least my dream. So at that point, I don't know when The Social Network came out. I didn't see it like in theaters. I saw it a little bit after. I was probably in high school. And in all honesty, I didn't really get into actually programming until, I don't know if I tried to get into iOS development in like 11th grade or 12th grade, but I know like when I really got into software development is once I started going to school. Now, mind you, when I was graduating high school, I didn't plan to go to college. I planned to go work for the power company just like my uncle did and just like my brother's doing. So between high school graduation and, you know, trying to find a job opening at this company to be a groundman and then eventually a lineman, which is a very good job, by the way, I got a warehouse job, kind of just turning wrench in the back of a warehouse, putting together what's called a vapor abrasive sandblaster. And this is a whole story in and of itself. Just know when I was working in that warehouse, that's when I realized like I don't want to be doing this all of my life. So let me see what other opportunities there are for me. So since I had all of this interest in technology, and every time I would go away, so like imagine this being the road of software development for me or technology for me, I would veer off from it, but I would always end up coming back. I'd veer off from it and always end up coming back, like throughout that whole entire time. I thought I wanted to do this, I thought I wanted to do that, but every single time in between, I'm like, no, I want to do software or computer hardware or some type of computer engineering. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I hardly still even know what the heck I want to do. And I'm already doing it. You see what I mean? It's just a difficult industry to get your head around. So what I did is during that warehouse job, I started to kind of look at schools, and then when I was in that warehouse job, that company got acquired and I got promoted to technical sales specialist, which was probably one of my favorite jobs, but wasn't sure the scalability of this job and the security of this job, and it actually ended up not being secure at all. So boom, lo and behold, I began to take online TCC classes. TCC is my community college, all while I was working and traveling the country doing that technical sales specialist job. But at this point, I was just doing general education courses. I did that for about a year and a semester. And then I spent one semester over at Virginia Wesleyan College, and that's when I took my very first programming course. It was a Java programming course, one of the best I ever had. I actually sat down in a classroom full of computers and coded alongside the teacher. So this Java course and all of the excitement I got out of it is what really solidified this career choice for me, or this college choice for me. So what did I do? I ended up not really liking Virginia Wesleyan as a whole. I loved that course, but that's really it that I loved about Virginia Wesleyan. There's a whole nother story in that, but I'm going to spare you the details. So I ended up going over to Old Dominion University, where I finished out my years, got my computer science degree, software engineering job, and that's where I am now. So to be honest, I'm not sure if that's exactly what you're expecting out of this video, but that's what I gave you. That's why I started programming. All of that led to where I am today. And if none of that would have happened, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you guys today talking about software engineering or iOS development or any of these topics I like to talk about. It's crazy how little things add up and really shape your life and shape who you are. It just makes me think of that whole theory like the butterfly effect, and how just one little transition, one little difference in your life could really just change the whole entire trajectory of it. But let's just say I'm happy with the trajectory I'm on right now, and I hope you guys are too. If there's anything that I can do for y'all besides make these videos, let me know. I'd like to be able to help. Consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and I have more videos like this to come. But anyways, until next time, guys, have a good one. Peace.